We're wrapping up our 2x2 series now, where we compare each of the major arcana according to the tree they're on. 10 are on the tree of life and 10 are on the tree of knowledge. We've worked our way down now to the last card, and even though it is the unnumbered or the 0 card, we're doing that at the end. Today we're looking at the Fool card. The Fool card in tarot decks has 2 roles. First, it's like a card, it's a card like any other with its own meaning. Basically, the Fool card is about a person who succeeds despite their so-called bad choices. And the other role the Fool card plays, we'll look into next week, is that this card can be an aspect of everyone, sort of an everyman card, every woman card. When we cover the 2 Fools' journeys, which we'll do next week, we'll see the Fool as a traveler. Oh, thanks, Joss. Who works his way up the tree of life in his youth and up the tree of knowledge in his maturity. As we've gone through the Tarot 2x2 series, we have compared each card to their partner card, and the cards do have partners. In Keter, we have the Magician. On the other tree, we have it as a Hanged Man. And we compare these 2 cards, and we get a lot of meaning from that. The Fool card is number 0. And although that is a number, it is often considered the only unnumbered tarot card. When we discuss the Fool, it does not have a partner. It's one of only 2 of the major arcana that doesn't have an aspect on the other tree. The other one, of course, is Justice. The Fool card, like the Justice card, has no partner card or alter ego. When the Justice card is drawn, we draw 1 more card from the deck to show where justice will be applied. And that's if you're doing fortune telling and a Justice card is turned up, we put another one across it. We know that justice is going to be applied. Something you have earned one way or another is going to come back to you. And the second card tells us what arena in your life that is likely to appear in. We don't select a second card for the Fool. Only Justice has the orientation card, the card that tells us where it's going to be applied. We don't do this for the Fool. When the Fool is laid down, we treat it like any other card, and we give its very specific meaning. When the Fool card is revealed in fortune telling, it is essentially a suggestion to follow your dreams despite public opinion. So that's an overview of what this card is. We'll look at a description of the card now. Below a bright sun and against a golden sky, a youth, followed by a pet dog, appears to be stepping off the edge of a cliff. In the background are icy mountains. The only vegetation is the white rose he holds in one hand. He carries a staff in the other hand with a satchel attached to one end, and he keeps this slung across his shoulder. The aspect of the Fool seems frivolous and distracted. He gazes up at the sky. The Fool stretches out his arms, welcoming whatever future awaits him and offering no defense against anything dangerous. Looking at the card, we expect him to take 1 more step and plunge into the abyss. It seems almost inevitable while he's looking up at the sky and taking that step, and the precipice is overhung and crumbling, that this is the end of him. But the Fool has no defense against dangers because he is riding the wave. He is following some kind of divine grace, and he will land on his feet. He will be fine. The Fool is a type of innocence symbolized by his white rose. He symbolizes the journey rather than the destination. The icy mountains in the background, as we've seen in other cards, are destinations of no importance, destinations that you don't want to approach. And it's just the distant emptiness that has no particular appeal to you. As we look at the Fool, we'll just make the point that the Fool is not a hero and the Fool is not a hobo. This is not a wanderer looking for handouts because he has no choice. This is not a hero out to conquer or follow some kind of a plan. The icy mountains he can see in the distance have no interest to him. We could say he seeks the unknown. We can also say that he lives in the present with no worries about the future. He is about experience and adventure. And these things, focused in a different light, could amount to foolishness. He's not following a plan. He's not aware of the imminent dangers around him. And he has no preparation for troubles in the future. As we said, he's not a hobo. When we look at his clothes, we see that the clothing of the Fool is flamboyant and unusual. It reminds me a little bit when we look at a card that's nothing like the Fool, the Chariot, when we see that very stylish, flamboyant outfit with the shoulder armor and the decorations and the canopy. But this card is a card about strength and the harnessing of intellect and emotion, never letting your emotion run free, always guided by common sense. The Fool is not like that. The Fool is not guided by common sense. He does not listen to the wisdom around him. And he proceeds without the kind of set plan that most people would want to hear from him. As we said before, he is about the experience and the adventure. The clothing of the Fool, as we said, is flamboyant and unusual, and it's not the garb of anyone we've seen. It's not the garb of the clergy. It's not the garb of nobility. He does not seem destitute or in any way desperate. He looks kind of dashing. He looks as if he's well put together with an outfit and a look. He's a bit of a dandy. His green hat sports a long crimson feather, and we'll look at that in a minute, and that's one of the signs of who the Fool really is. Over a white shirt is a belted tunic with variegated and flared sleeves. The tunic is boldly decorated with symbols of leaves and sunbursts. Under the tunic, he wears beige leggings and bright yellow boots. Beside the Fool, the domesticated pet dog either pauses at the brink of the cliff or perhaps he prepares to jump. We'll take a little bit of a look into the deeper aspect of the Fool, and we'll distinguish him for just an idle wanderer or somebody who couldn't do what was expected from them. This is not a person who couldn't hold down a job or couldn't follow directions or couldn't apply himself. We're going to take a little peek at the Sun card. Now, the Sun card, as we remember, is the altar image of strength. Both of these suggest that kind of innocence that we see in the Fool, the lady and the lion, and the naked child on the white horse. These are both aspects of strength, the kind of strength that doesn't need to advertise or threaten. It's internal. The Fool has this strength, and the aspect of these two cards is part of the aspect of the Fool. We saw the Sun card has such strength that it doesn't need to threaten or warn. It is an aspect of the tarot card's strength, and these two things are in the Fool. And with that knowledge, we have to see the Fool as not quite the aimless failure that he may appear. We have to see that he has, in a sense, his own kind of purpose, and that is not a weak thing. He is doing what he wants, and he knows that no one agrees with him, and he knows that no one wants to join him. Yet despite this, he is moving on. He is following some kind of inner directive. We can see the link between supposed foolishness and strength by looking at the two cards. When we look at the strength card, we can see the innocence of the child riding a horse that can know no danger, complete confidence, and on the headdress of the child, we see that scarlet plumage, that feather, and we see that on the Fool's hat too. The Fool is strong. The Fool has great strength, and only through great strength can he pursue his inner longing without needing the affirmation of other people. Both the Fool and the Sun card, who is the incarnation of strength, wear that scarlet feather. The message of the Fool card is that sometimes a person needs to follow their own needs and wants, even if some actions are seen by others as selfish or unwise. A couple of examples. One, a friend was telling us about their son, who by 12 years old was into collecting and books, kind of clumsy, not athletic, and he seemed a little bit between and betwixt at times, and his parents were looking for something that might interest him. And the boy said, "I want to play hockey." And they stifled their laughter because it seemed to them a very strange thing when other boys had been in this sport for some years, and he had never really displayed any kind of aptitude or even interest in the game. With some reluctance, they enrolled him, and it was a kind of a sad thing to see at first. I don't think the child realized the difficulty of skating and shooting and learning the rules and playing on a team. But the point of this, within 3 years, that kid had become the most valuable player and the team captain. So that's somehow in that child's mind, they knew there was something they wanted, they felt they could succeed in it, and it changed that person's life. Just the self-esteem and the confidence from that would stay with him for the rest of his life. And another example is with our own son, who we've talked with on this show, Shane. And when he was about that age, he seemed to not quite know what he wanted to do, and we were trying to interest him in different things, karate, sailing, sports. We really didn't want to sign up for anything like hockey or figure skating, knowing we'd be traveling every weekend, but we were open to suggestions, and his suggestion, he wanted a unicycle. And it just seemed ridiculous. A unicycle, we've never seen one in the area. Anyway, we got him the unicycle, and he obsessed with it. He learned to ride it within a week, going around schoolyards, holding after hours, holding onto the fence until he learned to ride it himself. He became an expert, and his self-esteem rose, and he was regarded highly by his peers. And this became an aspect of his personality through his ability that stayed with him and really altered the way he developed in his throughout his teens.
I think that learning a skill is highly regarded by people, no matter what it is. If you're good at it, it's a very impressive thing to be able to share.
Yeah, and in behavior, the prescription for raising self-esteem was to enable the child to do something that gives him respect in the eyes of his peers. And so for different kids, different sexes, it may be different things. I'm just going to read a little bit from Waite about the fool. By the end of the description, which I won't read, it sort of degrades into kind of that jealousy amongst the knowledgeable at the time. But some of the beginning is interesting, and it does echo some of the things that we've talked about. But even though they weren't aware that the tarot was designed to illustrate the two trees, Waite in his description does suggest that the Fool has two journeys. And that's what we're doing next week, the two journeys of the Fool up the two trees. According to Waite, this is the Fool. With light step, as if earth and its trammels had little power to restrain him, a young man in gorgeous vestments pauses at the brink of a precipice among the great heights of the world. He surveys the blue distance before him, its expansive sky rather than the prospect below. His act of eager walking is still indicated, though he is stationary at the given moment. His dog is still bounding. The edge which opens on the depth has no terror. It is as if angels were waiting to uphold him, if it came about that he leaped from the height. His countenance is full of intelligence and expectant dream. He has a rose in one hand, and in the other a costly wand, from which depends over his right shoulder a wallet curiously embroidered. He is a prince of the other world on his travels through this one, all amidst the morning glory in the keen air. The sun which shines behind him knows whence he came, whither he is going, and how he will return by another path after many days. He is the spirit in search of experience. And I think we can agree on many things with that description. In a reading, fortune telling, if the Fool turns up, we've talked about some of the things that the Fool represents. There is great internal strength, but it will not be the showy kind of strength. If the Fool turns up in a reading, we might say something like this. The Fool card suggests you have an idea, maybe a dream, of letting go of what you should do and try something else. This something else will not be supported by your friends and family. The Fool card says jump and don't worry. You will land on your feet and be in a better place. Okay, Joss, do we have any questions today?
Well, before that, Sarah is back with us.
Hi, Sarah.
Laura, FC Brown, and Pink Purple say hi.
Hi, Laura. Is Pink Purple a separate person?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
all three I named.
Oh,
Laura,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Does the Fool card suggest that we act in an irresponsible way?
Yes. Irresponsible, of course, isn't a cosmic or universal or unchanging idea. Irresponsible is sort of what the eyes of others reflect to you. Yes, put aside what you should do and embrace the journey you always wanted to do. And I think that is the essence of this card.
Is the Fool card a kind of message that we should all follow our hearts?
No. And we've talked a bit before about the tarot cards are not fortune cookies, and not every tarot card is a lesson to live your life by. They're more complicated and they're deeper than that, the messages that they contain. The Fool is called foolish for a reason. In life, we have to advance ourselves and protect ourselves. We don't want to give ourselves up to chance and emotion, because 99 times out of 100, failure will be the result. By protecting ourselves and advancing ourselves, we can be happy and successful. Most of the time, we should be responsible. And we've talked about the chariot, which the linking of wild ideas and common sense. But sometimes, very rarely, seemingly foolish actions can have wonderful results. And that's what the Fool card says. It doesn't say, do this all the time, but it reminds you that sometimes the most profitable journey can be one based on emotions.
Is the Fool sometimes seen as weak?
I think so. I think people will say that he's too weak to hold down a full job. He's not strong enough to buckle down to his studies. And these type of things, they will suggest his wanderlust as something that is lacking in him. The Fool will always be initially criticized and ridiculed. He may be seen as not strong enough, too unfocused, or too unwilling to take advice. But we've learned that it takes great strength to succeed at being different. And I think that's the heart of this. The Fool is different. He has great strength. He is not going to change. And at the end of his story, we will see success.
What does the Fool seek? What are his long-range plans?
I think that's the key to understanding the Fool, is that question doesn't apply to the Fool. The Fool just is. He is not trying to become anything. And again, these are not words to live by for everyone. We don't suggest that we all just live in the moment, that we all just scratch our itches and then take a nap after. He's not suggesting that all the time we don't try to become anything. The Fool card is one specific card that sometimes happens. It is like a glorious selfishness that propels him to wherever he ends up. For the Fool, it's just an adventure and experience. It's nothing about the outcome. It's just the adventure and the experience. We may criticize him, yet we also admire his joy and his openness to new ideas. Next week, we take the Fool and we watch him as he takes two journeys: in his youth up the tree of life and his maturity up the tree of knowledge. Those two journeys will cover all of the major arcana cards, and it is the way we learn the meaning of these cards, and indirectly the pips as well, through these two stories. Instead of memorization, we will understand each card as part of those two stories, and we'll get to them. We'll do them both next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.